So I chose fall asleep, stay asleep because who doesn't have sleep problems, right? I'd like to think that most of us are good on that front, but a lot of us, especially after the time that we've gone through, I won't say it, but it, it was really, I don't want to say traumatic, but uh, it was very pressing for, yes, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I might as well. Why am I trying to sugarcoat it, right? But no, in that, aside from that, just everyday stress of life, like things come up and it keeps us from sleeping well. And it's so important. Like people really underestimate sleep. Oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. You got to sleep every day so that maybe you can prolong that time. You don't get there as quickly. But I do want to mention now that everything that I talk about today, I can't talk about diseases or treatments or anything. This is just information. I will talk about some supplements, but it's just some stuff, to kind of food for thought, maybe something that you didn't think of before that could be hindering your sleep. So I'll go through these different things. I will say this right now, it's not going to be just on everybody's answer is melatonin. I know it's very familiar and maybe some people have tried, maybe you've tried it yourself, but I'm going to give you some insight into other things we can think about that will help your sleep, okay? I am also going to talk about, I'll briefly go through the different stages and what's kind of going on. I'm not going to go in detail. I'm going to keep it very general there, but also talk about why sleep is important, how it impacts our body, common sleep concerns, causes for why, our sleep is disrupted. And then I'm going to go into the supplements and kind of give you some tips to think about, okay? So how does sleep impact our health? First and foremost, weight management. Did you guys all know that you actually burn more fat when you're sleeping?
I heard that.
Yeah, and it's true. It's not going harder on the treadmill at the gym and sweating more. It all actually happens when you're sleeping. You need that activity. You need to burn the energy, but it all really happens when you're sleeping. So I always ask people when they're struggling with weight, and there could be many factors and variables involved in this. It could be hormones, but hormones regulate our sleep, right? So I do say that if you're not sleeping well, it's going to be a lot harder to maintain, or if you're trying to get on like a healthy diet routine or whatnot, it's going to be harder to get to your goal. You need healthy sleep, especially if you're starting to get some more activity or going to the gym or doing yoga. You need that healthy sleep to recover the body. Like when you start to get into the regimen and you do whatever it is, whether it's bike riding, the gym, whatever your, activity passion is, you have those days when you first get back into it and you're sore because your body's not used to it. You need good sleep to recover. It's going to take longer. And there's no point in going and working out when you're not recovered yet because your body needs to heal, take the energy to heal. So now you're working out on a sore body. You're not going to get the results you want. It's going to take you longer. So sleep is so important for healthy weight management. Cardiovascular system. Part of the reason why you go to sleep is because everything is detoxing, everything is repairing, and just getting better for your next day. Okay, when you have disrupted sleep, your blood pressure is slowing when you go to sleep. You want everything relaxed so that the body can kind of go to work and do all those repair and recovery processes. But when you're waking up, you're just increasing your blood pressure again. Your blood pressure should stay at a steady point and kind of relax and lower during your sleep. But if you're waking up, your blood pressure is going up again. And so what does unhealthy blood pressure bring about? Cardiovascular disease, right? And that's number one killer. And I was going to say the country, it might even be the world. It's the number one contributing factor to death. And I don't mean to be dramatic. I'm just saying that you're more predisposed to certain cardiovascular diseases, especially if you're not sleeping. Okay, and blood pressure is a big piece during that. Blood sugar levels. So there's certain stages of sleep that your body's going through these different processes. And I want to say during like the second to third stage of sleep, that's the restorative sleep. Okay, and that's when you're actually healthy sleep can lower unhealthy blood sugar levels. But not only that, if you have disrupted sleep, what happens? So you're tired throughout the day and you're going to crave more because you need that energy fix, right? Have you ever been tired or stressed and craved carrots or celery? You crave donuts and candy and sugar, right? So that it only is it's a really bad cycle. Like you get bad sleep, you're going to crave more because you want that energy fix. Plus your blood sugar hasn't been able to have that recovery time during sleep. So now it causes insulin resistance. So another reason to just cause you to crave more. So you really need healthy sleep to keep your appetite in check, your blood sugar levels in check, your mood. Is anyone happy when they're tired? I'm cranky, right? Like I actively look for things to make me laugh just to wake me up. But it can have a really bad, and really to go into cognition and memory, it really takes a toll on all your cognitive processes. Like during certain stages of sleep, your memory is consolidating. Actually, everything you've learned is kind of being broken down and stored, stored memory. You're not going to have that happen as good if you are not sleeping right. And especially if it's disrupted. Not only does that bring on stress, but now it brings on a bad mood. And, maybe some of you have had this with like coworkers. I know with mine, after I had my second child, I was, of course, not sleeping, up all night and nursing. And so I'll come in, and the days that I got rest, my coworkers were like, you must have got good sleep. You're just contributing. You got all these good ideas. You can see it. And people around you especially notice it, like you're tired. Okay. And tired body, tired mind. Okay. And it comes out like your memory recall, your reflex, your attention, your reflex timing, reaction timing, things like that. Okay. So it definitely affects that all greatly. Immune and inflammation response. So the immune system, which inflammation is an immune response, but going into the immune, where we think of like cough and cold time. So during certain stages of sleep, the immune cells that fight off those unwanted pathogens that come into our body every day, it happens, but we should have the mechanisms to kind of clear that and get rid of it. When you're tired, you're not boosting and making those cells during your sleep. So now you're getting sick easier. And that's another thing. And I don't mean to talk about myself a lot, but after the baby and I wasn't sleeping very well, I was always getting sick. Like you're definitely more susceptible to getting sick when you don't sleep well. Okay. And then inflammation response. So your body needs to recover to build that immune response. But another thing is if you're not sleeping, your blood pressure goes up. So all that nice blood that's getting shuttled around, it's actually fueling the inflammation. It exacerbates inflammation. So not only does it make it worse, but if you sleep okay, it's going to mediate that. It's going to help keep that at a healthy check. Inflammation isn't bad. It's our friend because it tells us when something's off. But chronically, that's when we have the problems. That's when you could have, of course, joint pain. Slow wound healing is another big one that comes on with poor sleep. So it's just things. Now, sleep affects many other things, but these are like the biggies, in my opinion. Your healthy weight, your heart, your cognition, your blood sugar, because really it's all metabolic and it'll just make out all other things off balance. Okay. So the 4 different stages of sleep. So I'll go through this quickly, but I will say as I'm going through these stages, it's not like you fall asleep and you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, and you wake up. You actually cycle through those many times throughout the evening. Okay. But the first one, it's like a 5 to 10 minute, maybe 20 minutes for some people where the body starts to relax. And do any of you kind of have that jerk when right before you fall asleep? Some people do, some people don't, but you do. So that's just a sign of kind of like your nervous system shutting down. It's, when I'm waiting for my kid to fall asleep at night so I can go back downstairs and do some work or homework or whatever, I always know when he's fallen asleep because he does, and I'm like, okay, cool, I can get out of the bed now. But that's a normal response. Like I said, maybe some people are already kind of in that sleep mode. They don't feel it, and some people don't experience, but it's normal. It's just basically your body is getting ready to relax so that it can sleep, okay? The second stage, everything is continuing to slow. Brain waves continue to slow. This is what's important for preservation and replenishing of your learning processes, everything that you went through the day, learned and whatnot, and your memory. A lot of memory consolidation happens during this stage. So again, if you're not getting to all these stages, all these different processes that you rely on every single day are going to fall by the waistline, okay? To go into the third one, now this is the one where human growth hormone is released during the third stage. Now that's big for recovery. That's big for burning fat. And that's why it's healthier to get healthier sleep, because then it will help you with that weight management goal easier. But this is what they call restorative sleep. So this is basically when your body is healing. If you had an injury, you had something traumatic happen, or you're recovering from something from months ago, but you're still in that healing phase. That's why doctors always say, go home and get rest. They're not just saying that. There's something to the sleep, okay? The fourth stage, so this is when the dreaming occurs. Usually it's harder to wake somebody up during this period. It'd have to be like a very substantial disruption, a loud noise, someone turns on a light, whatever. Did you guys know that your brain activity is actually more active during this stage than when you're awake during the day? Isn't that amazing? It's so busy and yet we're sleeping, but it's still got many jobs to do even when it's sleeping. So it's very important to kind of hit all these stages to make sure that you're getting to all those different processes. Another one, we're detoxing when we're sleeping. Now, you guys have heard of the lymphatic system, right? So have you ever heard of the lymphatic system? No? No? It's really interesting. So it's a macroscopic process that they say our brains go through. It's basically like the space in between all the blood vessels and all the cells in the brain. It almost kind of naturally opens up, and that's the way of the brain detoxing and moving stuff out of the nervous system. So not only the body, not only your liver and your colon and all those other, your brain needs to detox. And if you're not getting to a healthy stage of sleep, it's just one more reason to cause cognitive disruption. Okay, it can exacerbate, like especially for people where memory like conditions run in the family, like Alzheimer's, dementia. Another reason to get your healthy sleep. You want to detox stuff out of the brain because really everybody accumulates plaque during their life. Poor diet, poor sleep, poor lifestyle, all those things. It starts to show up as we age. And so people kind of connect that with like, oh, when you get older, you get that. You're actually accumulating plaque, all throughout your life. And things like this, like if you're not sleeping well, it just heightens that. It accelerates it. If you're not detoxing these things out of your brain, plaque accumulation is just worse, I'll say. And then there's the cognitive disruption. A lot of people equate like, I walk into the room and I can't remember what I went in there for. Yeah, it's common. It's not normal. You need healthy sleep. Okay. So it's really big for the brain. So common sleep concerns, and maybe some of you can resonate with one of these, many of these, but inability to fall asleep or stay asleep. Is it a stress thing? Are you thinking a lot? Are you thinking about the next day? Is the mind just racing? Circadian rhythm disorders. So for the people that are outside of that typical 9 to 5 work schedule, like some, men in my life, they've worked like 3 long days and then they're off 4, and then their sleep is all goofed up for those few days, or they work nights and then you shift and go back to days. Really, this can even be caused by like if you're traveling, whether it's for recreation or for work, people are in and out of different time zones. And that really, the time shift alone goofs us up. Now we're going through different time zones and traveling a lot. So it just, again, makes it worse. Restless legs and body. Any of you guys experience that or? Well, that's a little bit or? Oh, okay. I am going to talk about stuff for that. But that's definitely something, nothing to do with sleep. It's the rest of the body, the agitation, the restlessness. So hormone imbalances, and this could be men, women, stress, going through the change for both men and women. But hormones play a huge role in our sleep. The cortisol, the melatonin. Cortisol is like, it's a strong hormone and it really disrupts and takes precedence over a lot of the others, so especially when we're stressed, it's very detrimental to our sleep. Bladder issues. Maybe you don't have any sleep concerns. You're overall healthy, no blood sugar imbalance, but you're just going to the bathroom a lot, and going to the bathroom a lot could be a sign of blood sugar imbalance. But like I said, if you know that you're relatively healthy and you've got this concern, maybe as we age, the bladder gets a little weaker. Some people just naturally don't have as strong of a bladder. Like you're the person that maybe coughs or sneezes and has a little accident, things like that. So you could just be blessed with a weak bladder. But I will talk about something to help support and tone the bladder too, if that's your concern. And this really came from a customer here. I helped her years ago and she was looking at the energy support. And so of course, energy, I think, well, how are you sleeping? I wake up like 10 times a night to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you're trying to get some energy. You're basically pulling fuel from an empty tank. There's nothing to pull there. You need better sleep to get that energy back. So she actually wound up getting the product that I'm going to talk about for bladder health, because just to help calm that urgency, like especially when you're the person where like you feel like you're going to explode, you go to the bathroom and the action doesn't match the feeling. And maybe some of you can relate to that. I know I could after I had kids. Can anyone else think of a common sleep concern or like what would disrupt sleep? It's really obvious, but you might not think of it until I show you the slide. But anyone can think of like what's disrupting our sleep? Any guesses or no? It's okay. Blue light. So we have devices everywhere and we do it to ourselves. I do it to myself. YouTube at night, put it down, But it's one thing to get blue light during the day and from the sun, but the sun eventually goes down. And the sun is a big player in regulating like our cortisol and our circadian rhythm. So now we've got basically artificial sun in front of us at night. And then there are some people, I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying we're all human, right? But you might want to read on the phone because reading makes you tired, right? But now you've got this light in front of you. So as much as some people feel like it might help them, it's really, again, exacerbating the issue. Like consciously trying to put your phone down before you go to bed, even away from your body, preferably, will hopefully get you in one step in the right direction of getting some better sleep, okay? And I was about to ask you for another guess, but I just clicked to it. A lot of caffeine going on. Caffeine's not bad, but it's for the people who have like those 4 Starbucks drinks every day because they need that consistent fuel. What's wrong there? Like, why do you need that boost constantly? Are you not sleeping? Because guess what? Now you're craving. And for some people, it's sugar. Some people, they just get it from their diet drinks or energy drinks or their coffee. And a little caffeine and a little coffee is okay, but not 5 cups of it every single day. You're just taxing your adrenals and making your energy levels worse over time, okay? So I'll give you a couple little tips to support your sleep quality. So sleep timing. So this is making sure that if you can kind of stay relative to the same time every night that you're going to sleep, same time you're waking up, that's going to help the cause. Your body is going to naturally get in that like rhythm, and you're going to notice like, and it might take some people longer than others. Maybe some get on it for a couple weeks, some they're on it for months, just making sure, okay, I'm going to go to bed right at 10. That's my time. That's it. No matter what, I'll get to the things the next day. But it's just keeping that rhythm, okay? It's going to help your circadian rhythm. How's your bedtime routine? And really kind of to go into the environment too. Like, are you the person that likes to have a nice cup of tea? Getting a little activity after you've eaten for the night. And I don't mean like go at the gym and do a hardcore workout, unless that's when you have to do it, but like a light brisk walk, if we can, just getting a little activity so that you spend that remaining energy and now you're ready to rest, okay? But even so, the bedroom environment, like, do you have any light in the room? Like, I'm the kind of person, if there's one little clock with that green or blue light, cover it. I can't have any light in there. Any little bit of light will disrupt our sleep. Okay, and some more so than others. How hot or cold is in the room? Can any of you sleep well when you're hot? Like when your, air conditioner breaks down in the summertime and like you're just sweating and it's so comfortable. No, it's not. Your body is cooling. Your temperature is actually slowing as you fall asleep. Your body likes a cooler temperature when you're sleeping. Okay, so do you need to turn down the thermometer a couple degrees at night? Just little things like that. Are you the person where, like for me, I live on kind of a relatively busy street, so one side of the house I will not even sleep on because everybody going the next morning for school and work, those loud engines on the trucks, they'll wake me up. So if you are the person that maybe needs to put something to muffle the noise just so it doesn't disrupt you, how's your bedroom routine? Like, is there things that you can improve there? Okay. Now I will say this, like for some people, they've done this little trick where you get in bed and your mind's racing and you can't fall asleep. So get up for 15 minutes and go do something, subconsciously set in your head that like when I'm in this bed and I'm laying down, it's sleep time. It's not work time. It's not this time or that time. It's not do whatever you want. But it's like, again, setting your mind that like when I lay down here, it's time to go to sleep. Okay. So if you're that person, again, having a hard time going, get up for 10 or 15 minutes, go do something, come back and try to go to sleep again. It's really been helpful for some people. So you still need physical activity, but I say don't take away from your sleep to do it. And I'm, again, maybe depending on your schedule, the only time you can do it is at 6 or 7 in the morning before you go to work. Go to bed earlier. Don't take away from your sleep to do it. Because anything that you're trying to do, weight management or just getting healthy mind, healthy, metabolic system, it's going to take away from that benefit. You still need your sleep. So do what you can, but still make sure you're getting your activity. And like I said, doing a light walk even after dinner time, just get some activity, okay? Limiting the caffeine and stimulating drinks. Like, are you the person that just has it every day as a little pick-me-up? Or like I said, are you relying on it? Like, see if there's something else that you can do in place of that. Now, it will take some experimenting. It always makes me think, we sell Amazing Grass, the greens product, and maybe some of you have tried it. Those two gentlemen that started that company, the one got his coworker on the greens because he was that person dependent on coffee, but always tired and fatigued. And that's another thing. Some people can be getting plenty of sleep, but they're still tired during the day. Why? Because they're not getting that quality sleep. So limiting the caffeine if you can, limiting screen time. And I say 1 to 2 hours. Again, if you need to make like a small practical change at a time where maybe for the first couple weeks, you're okay, 10 minutes and I'll put it away and then I'll go to bed. Then maybe move it to 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Don't do such dramatic changes if you think it's going to be harder to maintain. Like, get yourself to that place. You'll start to notice that even though some of these habits, it's kind of like a diet routine, but for sleep. Like, you're going to try these little things, but don't do everything at once because you're going to be overwhelmed. You're not going to find the replacement to these habits of what works for you. And then you just go back to the old again. So if it's small changes make it easier for you, do it. So if you're like, okay, for this first month, I'm going to put it down 20 minutes before I go to sleep. Good for you. That's a step. Good for you. Smoking, and really goes along with alcohol. Smoking can bring on sleep apnea, because obviously you're, pushing the lungs with smoke. And not judging anybody because it is a hard habit to kick, but you're exacerbating issues that make it harder for your body to like fully uptake air. You're constricting airways. And that's when you're all of a sudden like noticing, well, I don't know how much you notice it when you're sleeping unless it wakes you up, but you go like for seconds where you're just not breathing and that's not healthy, So smoking can bring that on. Alcohol, some people, and maybe I've known these people or maybe you can relate or you've known these people, but they have a cocktail every evening and it's not like they're hardcore drinking every night, but it relaxes them, right? And it helps them go to sleep. But I will say alcohol, one, it's dehydrating you, okay? And two, you're disrupting your detoxing processes when you sleep. Because that alone, when your body is kind of got an overload and it's trying to kind of do all these things, like you're detoxing your brain, you're detoxing your blood, your liver's working hard to do this and that. So when it gets disrupted, that alone can wake people up. And sometimes those are the people where it's like nothing disrupted my sleep. Why am I waking up out of nowhere? So smoking and alcohol, moderation, leave it to the weekends, maybe not evenings when you're going to work the next day, you got a long day, meetings, whatever it is. And the eating piece, eating at least 2 hours before bedtime, that's big too, because when you eat and food's in your digestive tract, all the blood goes there. Okay. And now you're trying to sleep and your blood's trying to do all these other things. And sometimes just having food in your stomach wakes you up. You have an upset stomach. It's not digesting as fully as it should. Plus, I will say, totally unrelated, most heart attacks occur in the morning. So I don't want to put something in my system that's going to make that worse. I want my body to detox and move everything out and then go and, eat at a normal time the next day. But it throws off blood sugar levels. An imbalance can wake you up there, especially if you're the person that wakes up hungry. Why do you wake up in the middle of the night hungry? It's not time to eat, it's time to sleep, but it's a blood sugar imbalance. So these are just a few things to think about. So I am going to go into the supplements here. So adrenal. So I have a couple different examples here. And really, I say just find the adrenal, if this is calling to you, just find the adrenal formula that looks good to you. Maybe you like a certain brand. Maybe you don't like the tablets over the capsules. Find something that's easiest and practical for you, okay? But adrenal, really good for those who severe stress, that it keeps you up or wakes you up. Even for those who get enough sleep but still find themselves tired. Like I can get a full night's sleep, and if you give me a good like movie and a nice cozy couch during the day on the weekend, I'm out, but it's not normal. And actually getting too much sleep isn't good either. You want that nice balance of 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Those people who, whether it's caused from the lack of sleep or not, the ones that I kind of call them the sky is falling personalities, where every problem, it's a big deal. But then once you deal with it, it's like, why did I get so upset? Adrenal. And especially for those who are reacclimating from shift work, You know, maybe you were that 4 days on, 3 days off, and now you're the 9 to 5 again. And now your body's all wonky and goofed up from the sleep schedule. This is really helpful for getting your sleep track, circadian rhythm back on track. And for me, I don't know about everyone else, but when I get on a consistent regimen with adrenal support, I myself will actually feel my body at a certain point every night starting to noticeably wind down. It's like kind of telling me, okay, get ready to go to sleep. And that's good. You want that to happen because now you're going to sleep better. But when I do adrenal support, I try to take mine within the same hour window in the morning. I was taught that years ago when I worked with a chiropractor. I'm not saying for you all to do that. Follow the directions on the box. That's just when I like to do it. It keeps the cycle in check. I do it at the same time every day, and it just the same rhythm, So liver support. So how I was talking about the hormone imbalance. So not only is the liver detoxing, but especially if you're a stressed soul, you've got a lot of cortisol running around, okay? So when you're sleeping, one of the liver's jobs is to deactivate those used hormones and move them out. If you've got too much, it's going to recirculate, and lo and behold, you wake up. Cortisol is meant to wake you up, okay? So it's not meant to keep you sleeping. So if you're awake, and then again, you're waking up more nights, you're more stressed, bad cycle that you're into. But some people alone have just done liver support in the evening. None of the liver supports specifies as morning or night or anything like that. But like I personally do liver support in the evening, especially when I remember to do this. I always have better sleep that night, and it's just from liver support. What made me discover this was years ago, I was actually doing castor oil packs on my liver. And I'm like, why do I sleep so good every night that I do this? And then I was, researching more, and it has a lot to do with the body detoxing and being able to move that stuff out. Again, imbalanced detoxing alone will wake somebody up. And it's from the high amount of hormones running through your system still. But more restful sleep and supporting the liver, especially if you are that person trying to get on like a new diet regimen. You're getting more active, whatever activity that may be, you're switching up your diet, making sure you're getting your protein and healthy fats. The liver handles the proteins and the fats, okay? So you want that to be nice and clear to be able to do that job. So another reason that it can benefit your goal, but certainly can maybe support someone's sleep too. And plus, I'm sorry, I'm holding all these up. This one's the Now Double Strength Milk Thistle. I love the Now Milk Thistle. Use this all the time. Really good product. Oh yeah, the milk thistle is known for being good for the liver. Yeah. So, and then now I'm going to talk about the melatonin. So we do have this plant-based option from Herbatonin. Now they have you're going to see a lot of potencies over there. Like we've got some as little as 0.3 milligrams, which I will say 0.3 milligrams of melatonin. This is what our bodies naturally produce. So sometimes people see those larger amounts and it's like, in my opinion, start off low and slow. Like sometimes, like for me personally, I'm better with this low dose than I am with like a 1.5 or 3 dose. I don't know what it is, but my body just likes just a little modest amount. Like 0.3 milligrams, maybe you're the person where you might need that support every night, whether it's, just for acute times to get you back on track, or you are the person that you feel like, this is just always helps me. I'm always going to, good for the immune system, so it's not bad to do it every day. So this is for like those people who just want something kind of low and steady. Now maybe you have those days where you're like, you know what, sometimes I have problems, sometimes I don't, but I got a long day tomorrow. I got meetings, I got to be on point, I got to be focused. Maybe that's where you go into those higher doses. And there's some experimenting to be had. Maybe I'm going to tell you, start with 0.3 and you're going to be like, Jessica, nothing, still wide awake and up. And, so if you need to kind of go into a higher dose, that's okay. Now, some people have the concern with waking up and still feeling groggy. So I know some trainers over the years with like the training we've gotten here, they suggest like maybe taking the melatonin after dinner time instead of waiting until you go to bed. So kind of getting it fueled for you a little bit earlier so that you kind of, I don't like to say burn through it, but so your body, fully processes it. And then you have a nice, night of sleep and so forth. Another thing is that some people notice, I start with 1 milligram, but then it wasn't working. So then I went to 3 and then I went to 5. My guess, I'm not a doctor, but my guess is that you're so stressed that temporarily that little dose helped, but you're so stressed that cortisol is overriding the melatonin. So there's something to be had for trying to balance the stress. I know it's easier said than done, but if we can do it, give ourselves more time to relax, it's going to help the cause, okay? But like I said, you're going to see a lot of different doses, 0.3, 3, 1. I think we have 10 and maybe even 20 over there. So there's a lot of doses to consider, but that's where the fun experimentation comes in. I'd love for any customer to come in for me to just know what's going to work for them. You got to just try it, okay? So these are really good. An herbal or a plant-based melatonin. Again, and maybe you're the person like, I just need to get some good sleep because I need my rest. I've been sick and I can't kick this flu. I can't kick this cold. It's just been lingering and lingering. Well, one, I say more water, but two, better sleep. Just get your sleep, okay? And, you can, like I said, I knew you were kind of asking about this. You can take it temporarily, or if you need to take it all the time, it's perfectly fine. Because melatonin has other benefits in the body. During the pandemic, they were really touting it for the immune. It does have immune benefits, absolutely. So this is a nice little blend, this REM Sleep. So this is the Healthy Cell. All of their stuff is in these liquid and in a pouch. The whole idea of these individual servings of liquid in a pouch, they want to alleviate having to add those extra additives that you might see in like a capsule or a tablet. You have to put things in a product to make it into a tablet. So yes, it's not in there to do anything for your body. It's just there to keep all those ingredients together in a tablet. Some people have to be watchful of certain ingredients. Okay, so that's why they put it in a liquid, because now they can avoid all that. Plus, you're getting a fresh dose every time you open it. So it's really nice for these because they're easy to travel with. Maybe you're the person like, I sleep fine at home, but every time I travel, not my pillows, not my bed, not my blanket, so you just need a little extra sleep support. So these are really nice for that. But this has like a little of everything. Melatonin, magnesium. I'm going to talk about magnesium, GABA, lemon balm, all things to relax the nervous system. Do you remember when I was talking about the heat and like being cooled down? So they put glycine in their product. Now, glycine does help regulate your core body temperature when you're sleeping. This is a really nice blend, I will say. And it's nice because you can try it once, and if you love it, then you can get more, or you just buy the box, have it at the side of your bed. They taste really nice, and this is for all different sleep concerns. Whether it's falling asleep, staying asleep, both, you just want a more restful, a better quality of sleep. This is a really good consideration. So I know you were talking about restless legs, right? So I kind of have a little cocktail for restless legs. Now we have these really good homeopathy blends by Highlands. Homeopathy is really nice because if anyone has to be concerned with like drug interactions, we get a lot of customers that say, well, I'm taking such and such. Can I take this? We're not allowed to tell you. We're not doctors. We're not pharmacists, But it's nice because you'll see on the package that it does say no known drug interactions. So they're very friendly to most people. Plus they have a PM. So you have one for the day, you have one for the night. And you just look on the back, it's a feeling of agitation while lying down, constant urge to move legs. Like, is that you? Okay. So it's something to consider. You have a daytime and a nighttime. But what's really nice with these, and I think it's one of the highest efficiencies out there, not the highest, but one of, magnesium. So this is a really nice pair, these restless leg formulas with magnesium. So we have a lot of magnesium over there, right? Have any of you ever gone over there and like, what form do I do? In general, all the forms are going to help everything, but certain forms, they've been studied to help with certain conditions. Now, magnesium glycinate, do you remember what I said about the glycine? So now they're binding the magnesium to glycine. So now it's not only better absorbed, but now you get that little benefit from that little glycine that you're getting from that. And so magnesium in general is really good for relaxing the mind and body. I will say the first time I ever did it, I was so deficient, I knocked out in like 15 minutes. I wish it did that every time, but I'm more balanced now. But in general, we lose our minerals through our fluids. So when we're going to the bathroom, when we're sweating, when we're crying, well, not so much crying, but like sweating in bathroom, you're losing your minerals, okay? And if you're not replenishing them, magnesium relaxes. So what do you think is going to happen? You're going to get tight and tense, okay? So, and sometimes it's just a matter of, like, I say this, when you're asleep, when you're laying down for bed tonight and you're trying to go to sleep, consciously think how relaxed you are. Like, are you tense and thinking? Do you have to sit there and be like, You know what I mean? Like, you don't realize how much this plays into this, okay? So if this is tense, this is going to be tense, okay? So there's all different delivery options over there. Mary Ruth's has this liposomal magnesium glycinate. So very pleasant liquid if you don't want the extra pills. This one is a personal favorite in my house. It's good for the little ones too. These are nice because they're gummies. A lot of gummies are coming out recently because people are getting sick of pills. They have a hard time swallowing pills. They're just sick of taking them. Maybe they take some of the doctor take here, whatever. So gummies are a really nice option. And I know sometimes one of the first concerns when I show people gummies, I don't want the extra sugar. And we are bringing in a lot of brands that are conscious of that, because if you're going to do all gummies, you're getting grams and grams of sugar just from your supplements. And that's kind of defeating why you're taking them, right? So Garden of Life, under 1 gram of sugar. Okay, so under 1 gram of sugar, okay? And it does say you can take up to 4, but it's dosed for kids even as young as 4 to 12. So if you've got little ones in the house, it's safe for them to take it, and it's safe for mom and dad to take it. These taste very pleasant, I will say. But if you're not one of those people, we have plenty of tablet options, soft gel, capsule options, whatever is best for you. I say get any magnesium if it's not glycinate, but if you want to target sleeping, try to get that magnesium glycinate form. You might even see biglycinate, same thing. It's just a chemistry thing, 2 glycine molecules instead of 1. But it'll make it more bioavailable too. And that's another thing. Maybe if you happen to be the person that's got some digestive disorders going on and you're worried about absorbing like your foods and your supplements and all that, glycinate is a really good absorbable form of magnesium. Okay, so especially for those people, consider the magnesium glycinate. Now some people have, whether it's an injury or maybe they're just healing from something acute, existing or not, this is a nice, considerable option. Now, they do have a reliever formula without the PM, but this one, basically the difference is they added melatonin to this, but not only that, this one ingredient, that tetrahydropalmitine, now it's very, very good for pain, I will say. Even on the one that's not touted for PM, they actually have an advisory saying it may cause grogginess, because it works so nicely for some people that they actually get so relaxed and then they want to go to sleep. But what's nice about this is it's not habit forming. I know some people are concerned with like, am I just going to want to take this all the time? Which I understand. There's people out there, they've been feeling pain for years, and I understand why they want to keep taking something, because now they feel relief for once, But this isn't going to be habit forming. Okay, and I believe from the training, they said they've used this, even in Europe, to get people off of that opioid dependency, because your body, it's just to digress for a minute, when you're taking painkillers, like especially those really hardcore ones from the doctor, your body has like little doors in the cells and they open up to receive certain compounds. But with things like that, they'll keep opening doors and doors. And that's why you have those people where you're like, how are you on like 10 Vicodin today and just functioning? Because their body is acclimated to it. You don't want to get to that point. Again, not judging. People have pain, they feel relief. I understand. But if you want to kind of get off that habit and you're that person, the Life Seasons Reliever PM is fantastic for that. And maybe you just need it at certain times. Like maybe you're the person like me, like it's summertime, the spring is coming or whatever, and you're out there getting all your yard work going. So like you're in some pain, some good pain. You got some stuff done, but you're in pain. Just that overexertion. Maybe you don't need this every night, but just for those times. Maybe it's something you just have on hand. But really good support, really good consideration. And like I said, there's things in there to help with, relaxing the mind and body. The L-theanine and the GABA, really good for calming, especially those people who have that mental chatter, really good for calming mental chatter, okay? So this one is for the people who have the concern with, kind of the urgency, getting up too many times in the evening, to go to the bathroom. This is really good for like even the people who have the weak bladder. I laugh, I sneeze, and I accidentally have, a little accident. Especially like I was saying before, when the urgency doesn't match the action. You feel like you're going to explode, but then you sit there and nothing, So this is really good for toning the bladder. And it actually helps with that mind response, like that signal from your mind to your bladder, where again, your mind is telling you you need to go, but you don't so much feel it down here, but you almost think it, right? So this is really good for kind of helping with like mediating that communication, but toning the bladder. And another thing, sometimes things come up, injury, pregnancy, men, it could be the prostate, where you start to have those urgency concerns, but it causes an inflamed bladder. You've got this inflamed bladder, and now it's resting on all these other structures that it didn't normally rest on before. So now you're creating these little pockets. So you go to empty, but then, minutes later, 10, 20 minutes later, now you're going again and it's a few drops. Like, I just went. Why didn't I go completely? Because these little pockets are now emptying after the fact. But what this is good for is just, like I said, toning the bladder and helping with that urgency to the point where sometimes people start taking this and they're like, I feel like I sit there forever when I'm going to, because you're emptying efficiently. You're getting everything out like you should. Okay. And then you notice you're not going as frequently either. So sometimes people don't have any other concern. It's just this weak bladder. But the mechanism here is it's toning the inflammation within the bladder, and it's helping that communication from the brain to the bladder. I can't speak on the drugs because I don't really know their mechanisms of action. So I don't want to, comment on that piece, but that's what this should be doing. And it can. I can't guarantee that everything I'm talking about will work for everyone. But it's an idea. So you can do research and you can look into it. And if it calls to you, you know where to find it. It's at Fruitful Yield. And like I said, this is for men or women. I just always think of after I had children, maybe as we age, we just notice that it's just not as strong as it used to be. Men with the prostate concerns, they have those urgency concerns as well. So it's for men and women. Okay. And then aromatherapy. So really good for like kind of getting your bedtime routine in place. Like I'm a big fan of lavender. I think people really underestimate the power of lavender. Lavender is very nice in the bath. Maybe that's your bedtime routine before the fact. For me, I like to spritz up the room and then I turn my diffuser off because I don't like it running all night. That's just me. I just need a nice little blend just to go to sleep and I'm good. But that's my bedtime routine. And it's very, very helpful. And, some people aren't into lavender. I've known some people that they don't like the floral, scents. Chamomile. There's even blends where there might be lavender in it, the peaceful sleep that you see there, but it's overtaking with other ones, so it's not so flowery. I've heard certain people in my life, it's too flowery. It's just, you don't like it. There's other ones you can look at, But this is a nice little pack. It's really good for Christmas time or just good for yourself. And, as much as these little 1 ounce bottles seem like, oh, I'm not getting a lot, you're using drops at a time. I don't know if there's like over 500 drops, I think, in an essential oil bottle. So you're going to have it for a long time. But these are really nice, encouraging a restful sleep, and it's good for kids and adults. And some are safe for pets, not all of them. So you want to check, but I'm pretty sure lavender is safe for dogs and cats. But a really nice thing to kind of set your bedtime routine, calm the mind. It's very pleasant in the room. So it's just another consideration. And whether that's right before bed or maybe that's part of your bedtime routine. Maybe you do it in the bath before you go to bed or the shower. I'm a really big fan of like dousing the shower, in the morning or at night. But it's just another idea to think about to kind of help promote that restful sleep. Maybe this is your change. You know what? I can't do all these other things, but I'm going to try this aromatherapy. I'm going to get a diffuser and see if it does anything for me at night. It can't hurt anything as long as it's not bothering you, right? But something to think about. So all I can say as far as takeaways is just encouraging a peaceful space for sleeping, making sure that the blinds are completely closed, drowning out the noise, whether, you do it to yourself or not. Another thing, people fall asleep to the TV, but just that little bit of light will wake you up. Not even the sound, the light. Are you that person? I'm that person on the weekends. I know. Oh, that's a... Oh. Oh, yeah, well, if it helps, even if you do a half an hour instead of it turning off 3 hours from now. But yeah, all that stuff, it disrupts everything. And find the root cause of your sleep issues, because some people is it really sleep or is there something else going on? Most of the time for a lot of us, it's just stress. It's a lot of stress, a busy mind, busy, life schedule. Keep yourself healthy with everything else, though. Your immune system, get your vitamin C, get your probiotics, keep everything in check. Make sure you're getting some decent activity, and keep your diet healthy. Again, they don't just say to eat healthier just because any condition or any, problem that you have going on, a good healthy diet will always be a good place to start. There, you got to nourish your body with good stuff. Okay, get your vitamins and minerals. Please, no screen time before bed. Do your best with that. It's easier said than done. I mean, not even just at bed. We have them everywhere. You go and check out your food, and you're doing it on the iPads now. Kids have it at school. It's in our face. It's not going anywhere, but we have control of when we don't use it. Okay, so just be conscious of that. And if you do need supplementation, by all means, you know where to come. We have a little of everything. We have all different delivery systems, liquids, this and that, gummies. So hopefully there's something that calls to you that will help you. Okay, but I really appreciate you guys coming.